Good afternoon, everyone. It's Monday, March 19th, and we're going to have a heck of a shop video today, especially for my Facebook users. Some of you are probably already aware of what I'm going to speak about. For those of you that aren't, there was a major incident with Facebook over the weekend involving a company called Cambridge Analytica and another company that called GSR that also does research. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down in English exactly what the heck went down. Back probably 2014, maybe even earlier, a psychology professor up at Cambridge, whose name is Alexander Kogan, created an application for Facebook called This Is Your Digital Life. And the purpose of this application was to serve as a personality test for people, and many people took the test. And in order for this to happen, the application had to request permission to have access to your Facebook data. What Alexander Kogan did not tell people is that the This Is Your Digital Life application also collected data from the friend lists of from the friends lists of the people that gave consent to have their data accessed by the app. This is a big deal because it did violate the Facebook terms of service. However, it gets worse. GSR then got hooked up with Cambridge Analytica when they sold the data they collected from the This Is Your Digital Life third-party Facebook application. Now, this is significant because Cambridge Analytica at the time was run by Steve Bannon. And I'm sure everybody that's watching this video knows who he is. This data was then milled through and taken and used to craft political ads during the 2016 campaign season in favor of our current president, Donald Trump. The political issues aside, the problem is that the data of 50 million Facebook users was taken by GSR and is now held by Cambridge Analytica, and 99% of these 50 million users did not give their consent. So the personal information of 50 million people is now out there floating around thanks to GSR and Cambridge Analytica. Now, I know a lot of you are probably asking, why does Facebook even have this data to begin with? I'm going to tell you the answer. Facebook has to have that data in order for Facebook to function. Period. Facebook is what we call a dynamically driven website. A static website is a website where the content does not change unless the website's owner changes it. A dynamic website is a website whose content has the ability to change automatically. And the way your basic dynamic-driven websites operate is they use a website coding language called PHP. Now, PHP, in order to use its full capability, is often teamed up with a database. And the most common database is MySQL. Some people will pronounce it MySQL. But the database has to hold data, of course, in order for it to work. And Facebook collects the data when you sign up. It puts it into Facebook's MySQL database and then uses that information along with the PHP code in order to make Facebook be Facebook. Now, I have to give some credit to Mark Zuckerberg here, although a lot of people aren't giving him credit today. They're very upset with him. A couple of congressmen want him to sit in front of a congressional committee and give testimony because they're a little PO'd as to how this could have happened. But I'm going to give him credit because Mark Zuckerberg has been approached by many marketers in the past, offering him a lot of money. In some cases, we're talking 10 or 11 figures here per copy for copies of the MySQL database that makes Facebook work. This is so they can take it and use it for their own purposes. Once you have a copy of the database, you can then sift through it using various queries against it to find information that you may be looking for, provided that that information is in the database. And again, Mark Zuckerberg has been very resistant to selling this database to any marketers. He's also been very resistant to he will only allow people to do so much with third-party apps and Facebook, particularly when it comes to the MySQL portion of it. What Alexander Kogan did was a major violation of the Facebook Terms of Service. Therefore, Cambridge Analytica has been suspended from using Facebook's development tools. Another problem here, though, and I think this is where Mark Zuckerberg is going to probably get thrown into the frying pan, is that he knew there was an issue with excessive data use by Cambridge Analytica since 2015. However, it was not reported. This could be a major legal issue because many states, including Connecticut, have laws that specifically state if personal information of individuals is released, data breach or otherwise, then you must notify the state attorney general in writing immediately. He didn't do that. That's where I think there might be a problem here. Nor did he explain to the general public that the data of 50 million users was now floating around on the internet. The only reason that we know that the data is floating around out there is because another individual by the name of Chris Wylie, who used to work for Cambridge Analytica, has come forward and blown the whistle and revealed exactly what happened at great personal risk to himself. For one thing, he's violating at least one non-disclosure agreement, which means he could be sued until he doesn't have any more money to sue for. He is, however, in this one author's opinion, doing the right thing. Because once the data has been let loose into the wild, as we call it, we have no way to control where it's going to go from there. Anybody could pick it up, including some potential bad actors that could use the data for malicious purposes. Hopefully that won't happen, but it is a risk. Now I'm going to actually show you Facebook and how you protect yourself from this kind of accidental data leakage. Okay, now we're in front of my console, and I'm going to explain a little more about Facebook's third-party apps and how you control them. Now, the problem with Facebook third-party apps is that Facebook has not had really the best control over what people do with the applications they develop. These applications are not developed by Facebook, hence the term third-party app. They are developed by independent developers. And I think this incident that has occurred has kind of brought to light just how little control Facebook has over this, but I digress. The point is, you have control over what third-party apps have access to your account. Now, I'm going to show people where they can go to do that because it's not obvious. I even had to go look it up myself. We all know the three globes, the three things up here, the friend thing, the message thing, and the notification thing, the help thing, and there's this little arrow over here. We click on the arrow, which brings up the menu. We go down to settings, which will bring us to this screen. And you see here over on the left, one second to get my arrow set here, over on the left it says apps. So we give it a click. Now listed are all of the apps that I have in my account at this particular moment. There's not all that many of them. Some people's accounts are way worse, but here is where you can control what apps have access to your Facebook account, and you can remove a third-party app from accessing your Facebook account from this screen, which again is under settings in the big menu arrow that I just pointed out. The thing to remember again is that not all these third-party app developers are trusted individuals. just like Alexander Kogan, he lied when he said the data was only going to be used for that one specific purpose. He did not reveal that he was collecting the data from friends lists of the people that were giving permission to use his app, nor did he state that the data was going to be sold to a third party. Now, personally, I'm torn about a lot of third-party apps because a lot of them are, in fact, useful. But, again, keep in mind that a lot of third-party apps may not be trustworthy. My best advice that I can give to someone is, if you're not sure about a third-party app, don't add it to your Facebook account. And we can remove these apps by clicking on the little X that appears right over here. You see I've kind of highlighted Daily Motion by hovering over it, and there's an X here that says remove. Hitting remove will end that third-party app's use of my profile information. And again, if anyone has any further questions, and I suspect that because this video is so major for my Facebook people, that a lot of people will have questions, feel free to message me, leave comment, like, post, whatever. My inbox is always open. I will see everyone next week. See everyone soon. Bye-bye.